Hey there, Palm Mute Maniac here, your source for long-winded King God Castle content. If you like long-form content for King God Castle, that includes strife runs, hero testing, breaking down mechanics and stuff like that. Like and subscribe. I have a good amount of content now. This is I think part 7 in the Accessories 101 sub-series that exists inside of my Noob series that I created. This is great content for new players. At least I'm trying to make it great content. And I get into detail into a lot of stuff. And honestly, as I'm making these videos, I'm learning the information that I'm sharing in real time. So that's a lot of it. It's not like I've done 20 hours of research and I'm like, and here are the results. It's more like, hey, let's do the research together. You guys can see my stream of consciousness, and if I'm wrong, you learn something anyway because you see where I made my mistake. And that's all about it, man. In the future, I might remake some of this content to be like more, here's all you need to know in 5 minutes. But that's not how it is today, guys, because these developers have make content quickly. And a lot of the stuff, a lot of the description of what these mechanics do are very vague. And so unless you start messing with them, you don't get to know. So anyway, yes, today is all about the ocean set. So this is the Oceanic Bracelet. Now, to be honest, the people you're going to put this on are likely going to just be the Link heroes and maybe like 1 or 2 heroes. You pretty much need 3 full sets of this built with physical defense, magic defense, and attack speed, probably. So basically, there's 2 different stats. There's Guard, and then there's Menace. And I've kind of confirmed that Menace and Guard are using the same code. All right? So, if you have about 100 to 120 Menace, you will reduce the amount. You will increase the amount of damage you deal by about 35%. The opposite is true. If you have like 1,000 defense, you'll reduce by about 40%. If you have 2,000 defense, you'll reduce damage by 60%. All right. I actually went over all of that information in my Menace Menace Sphere set video, as well in my Steel set defense video. So Guard is essentially just giving defense. It's giving defense in a multiplied way, so we can go into it. So the thing with Guard that's kind of weird is that if your hero, this is an ad. I do marketing in my real life, so you can ignore some of that stuff. If your hero, let's say you have a tank hero, and the tank hero has 2,000 defense. I'll call it 1,000. Most of you guys are probably like, if you're watching this content, you might not have a 2,000 defense, but call it so. So defense is really going to only happen after Corrupt 11, 12, 13, because that's when you're going to start getting accessories and stuff. So let's say you have a tank with 1,000 defense. Keep the numbers really easy. If all you're doing with Guard is you're increasing this number by a certain amount. So Guard increases the defense of an ally besides the user that receives beneficial effects, such as recovery, protection gain, and stat increase from the equipped hero for 5 seconds. So it's like a temp boost. Now, another place for you guys to see this mechanic in action is there is a legacy. There's a legacy. I believe it's the mirror. Yeah, it's the mirror armor. Okay, magical armor. 300 defense upon receiving protection for 3 seconds. This mechanic is essentially what Guard is doing. It's just doing it in a different way. It's the same. It's the same code that it's writing. I'm gonna just come out and say that guard is not gonna make much of a difference. Haha, defense difference. It's not gonna make much of a difference because basically, if you look at the steel set video, we had talked about 120 defense. I believe it was like less than 10%. I have to pull up those notes. 1,000 is like about 40%, and then 2,000 is like 60%. So this is what you do is you take the incoming damage and you just reduce that number by 10%. Okay? So if you have, again, like we talked about in the last video, 2 videos ago, if you have 10,000 damage coming at your hero, then you just simply pull out your handy-dandy calculator and you go, oh, you have 120 defense? Then we're going to reduce this damage by times 0.1. So we're just going to shave 1,000 damage off. So this would be 9,000 damage gets to hero, right? And then this one would be 10,000 damage is coming through times 0.4. So we're going to reduce by 4,000%. Real easy, right? 6,000 damage gets to the hero. And this one, 4,000 damage gets to the hero. It's a damage reduction based on the number that's coming. Now, if your hero only has an HP of 3,000, right? Then 10,000 damage is going to kill them no matter what. Like, it's going to whack them. 3,000 minus 9,000, they're dead. 3,000 minus 6,000, they're dead. 3,000 minus 4,000, they're dead. Okay? So, squishy heroes are going to stay squishy. Now, of course, it all adds up. It all adds up. If you go crazy with guard, realistically, like if you max out guard, you're only going to probably give about 800 defense to all your heroes. So for your super squishies, let's say if you're giving like between 500 and 800 defense, that's going to make this number like probably like 18, right? In which case 10,000 damage will come in at like 8,100 instead, roughly 8,200. So 10,000 is still gonna squish the squishies. So with all that being said, is it worth stacking Ocean Set? I think it is because it contributes to an overall stack. So it's almost like, yeah, of course you put Ocean Set on these Link heroes because what else are you going to put on them, right? So here's my build for mono. I'll do plus 40 guard, so that means that he's going to give some amount of defense to the person he's linked to, an additional 30% on the top on guard. But the amount of defense that Ocean Set is giving is not worth me sacrificing like additional defense equal to base guard effect, which is not defined whatsoever. It's just, we don't know what this means mathematically. I just don't think it's worth it no matter what. You're not going to double your target's defense. I've run a lot of guard, testing, and it's kind of like Menace. It's almost like you would almost need to purely focus on defense from your support hero. But look at Mono. Mono, I'd rather give Mono 2 pieces of Barbaric Ring, and we have a Barbaric set. We haven't talked about Barbaric set yet, but 2 pieces of Barbaric will give him plus 60 attack, And then, of course, Rusty's sword will give him plus 75 attack. And what his job is to give his attack base over to, to whoever he's linked to. Especially if you're running assistance. Now you're taking this attack damage and you're giving it to the person. So, like, his job is to sustain and give attack. And maybe clear CC if you're on that train. So all your Link heroes, my recommendation is going to be 3-piece Ocean, 2-piece, whatever stat that you are trying to boost. I think the only exception right now would be Sirion. Because there isn't, and again, I believe the next accessory that they're going to release is going to be a spell damage boost accessory, very similar to Barbaric and Wind. But that's just my 2 cents. As of right now, August 13th, 2024, I do full Ocean here because there's no point. I mean, you might want to consider putting 2 Wind set on Sirion to increase the attack speed, to get her to do her uplift faster. Like, that's an option if you are worried, if you are trying to get uplift online quicker. Most of my builds, I'm using Sirion as a mana battery with Echo. And so I'm just kind of like, all right, you know what? We'll give the carry who Sirion is boosting is more guard. Like, why not? It doesn't hurt. I will tell you that her being put on a hero lock hero, I am not feeling the guard. I've done as high as 120 guard. My carries still get fucked up if they get caught. If my tank fails at their job. Okay? It just happens. So I wish I had more to say about Ocean Set. I've done all of the elaborate play testing at this point with the menace mechanic and the defense mechanic in Steel Series. So, like, the Steel Set video. So I'm not going to waste your time to show you the exact same mechanic of menace, but inside out. Because it's just giving defense. So I already talked about how defense works. Watch the Steel Set video and then just use your imagination. It's exactly what's going on. So are there non-Link heroes that I would consider putting Ocean Set on? Yes and no. Bardry, I would rather, honestly, have a sustainy, not dying Bardry. So while Bardry is giving a bunch of MP and a beneficial effect to the rest of my team, I would rather Steel Set, personally, so that Bardry can, like, take a hit, maybe, maybe one. I have for a time put partial Ocean Set on Belina when she's in her support role. But what I found is that critical damage just makes her more of a... enemies dying faster equals less damage. Right? Enemies dying faster, there's less enemies on the field. They are going to have less of an opportunity to do damage to you. So I get a double benefit from her killing enemies faster than I would with her making the fight last longer and adding an arbitrary amount of guard to the field. Right? So that's my 2 cents on that. Mercil is another one that I'm saying incorrect. Probably saying her name incorrectly, but American education system. Mercil's one of these where, yes, she is putting down the Verdant Garden in a different shape range. It's bigger, but these fucking guys are lazy. They're not even talking about... Oh, there it is. There it is. So, you can see how big it gets. But the text doesn't change, which is laziness in the program. Anyway, I'm not going to beat them up too much. So with Mercil, her MP is very high. It's 70. She has to swing her staff and throw a little ball about 5 times. And then she has... a relatively slow casting animation to make her Verdant Garden grow on the field. So I personally feel that attack speed is more important than Ocean Set. So I do, if you look at my Ocean Set, what do you see? They're all defense-based. Okay? So I'm going to scale defense in my Ocean Set, hopefully. And maybe have a Steel Set-esque pattern. But giving her attack speed so that she can clear CC makes more of a difference in my mind. Yeah, people who stand on her garden will get a little bit of a bonus in their defense. I have played with Mercil and Strife extensively for her CC clear. I never really notice a difference in my people staying alive. There might be some math that I'm not seeing, but honestly, yeah, this is my build for Mercil. I probably won't change this build. I'll probably just grow these accessories the way they are. But I'm not wowed by Ocean Set. It's like, okay, I get my support guy gets to be a little better. Another person who you might consider doing Ocean Set would be Young. I would rather see crit and win set on her. She's more of a burst damager. She does heal, but she's a burst damager. If you've played Chapter 13 and you see those blue guys that sit in the back and hurl balls of death at your team, you'll notice that anybody who's weak to burst damage gets fucking eliminated. That's essentially what Yeon is. Like, that's the potential if the numbers are high enough on Yeon. Ignore this, I was doing playtesting. I would probably do, for her, 3 pieces of Ocean Set, 2 wind, and an attack speed. And I would build 100% spell damage as high as I could. That's what I would build on her. I don't see Ocean on her, but people might consider that. You certainly do not put Ocean Set on Estia. Her entire thing is scaled. On I have guard. Don't laugh at me. Okay, this is just how it rolls. I was looking for physical defense and spell defense. You certainly want to get your attack up with her and your attack speed up with her. As you can see, I have no freaking clue how to build her. I'm still kind of figuring her out. But I definitely do not see Ocean here. I'm going to think about the other support heroes for a second that Ocean could potentially go on. Gidnil is technically a support hero, technically giving people spell blocks. I think Steel Set is probably what you want on this guy. I don't think that you ever bother doing attack speed even. His attack sucks. He just punches someone in the face like 3 times and then adds a buff. I almost feel like if you're going Gidnil, you pretty much need a Bargery because you need to cheat his MP to set, cheat his MP up. Yeah, you go Steel Set on this guy. Ocean Set doesn't go here. Let me find some more support heroes. There really aren't any other applications for it. Like Agath or Anji or whatever nickname people keep her. She needs Steel Set. She does give people a benefit, but I wouldn't ever consider Ocean Set for her. I just don't. She's absorbing all the damage onto herself. She needs her HP added. She needs her defense to be high. If you could Steel Set her up to 3,000, 4,000 defense, and you build HP bonus on her, holy crap, that would be amazing. In fact, that's my next project. Behemoth technically gives protection and increases defense for 350 for 4 seconds. So technically, he has an awakening which has basically built-in guard. Would I ever give him Ocean Set to make this better? No, probably not. So, guys, I know that this was a very exciting video, but Ocean Set is not very exciting. It's part of the series. Put Ocean Set pieces on your Link heroes. Guard it might be more important later, but I subscribe, this is my opinion, and you can tell me I'm wrong, I subscribe to more damage, less enemies equals less damage for you. And, you know, while I do see an immediate benefit to having defense, like your tanks need to have defense. Your squishies, you can give them a little bit more defense, you know, and if you really have problems with sustain, and you're working on something really difficult, you do have Elixir of Respite, and you do have Flag. Flag is a flat 40 on top of defense. Elixir takes 50% of the damage and spreads it out over 3 seconds. So if you are doing a high volume attack, or you have somebody adding protection, like, you can keep your guys alive. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. So I'm gonna wrap this video up. I'm sorry it wasn't that interesting. It's just my opinion on Ocean Set. I hope we get a new hero, guys. I hope we get a new hero tomorrow. As a side note, season ends in 2 days, man. I hope we see a new hero. I hope it's like a support hero that makes Ocean Set amazing. You know, I would much rather have this next set. I'm jonesing for this set. I want the spell damage set. Come on, make my Jinju relevant. Make my Chunga relevant. Give me my spell damage accessories. I need them. You know, something that's like spell damage is increased, and for every X number of spell damage, you generate your own protection and life steal. Like, something like that. Something that makes a Jinju, like, I want Jinju to be Beatrix Kiddo from Kill Bill. Like, she's just taking names, keeping herself alive, and just is an animal, right? We really want to see, I want to see a big disruption to the meta right now. But, okay, that's me gushing over, you know, potential things. I'll see you in the next video. My next video, I'm so excited. We're doing Sharpness Set. Sharpness Set's really strong, really fun. It does really great things. And it will be a much more exciting video than this one, I assure you. Alright guys, see you next time.